going on, guys? My name is Ty and I have Gabby here with me in our Weddings Made Perfect podcast. Once again, you can email us at weddingsmadeperfectpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. Also, you could hear us on any platform and also could watch us on YouTube. However, this is a part 2 series of 2022 wedding trends, and we just got done doing the part 1. If you haven't listened to that already, there's no need to go back and listen to that right now. You can listen to this part and then go back. You're not missing much. That one was mainly just about what is a trend, what is a fad, and then we kind of go down like how trends are created. Now, for this one, it's going to be about wedding decor, trends that are currently happening for the year 2022. But other than that, once again, guys, I always like to say thank you so much for giving us a chance to listen. We are an unscripted podcast, and basically meaning that we're here to kind of go through some topics of things, kind of give you guys knowledge as well. But at the same time, though, kind of give you a nice little debate and kind of opinions of what we think is ideal or best. But once again, you guys, at the end of the day, it is your day, and making sure that you guys get to decide what you want to do and the way that you want to make your wedding perfect. So with that being said, thank you so much to listen. And this is also, like I said, the part 2 of 2022 wedding trends. It's still just me and Gabby right now. If you watched or listened to the first one, we do not have Tristan or Emma with us currently. It's just me and Gabby. So we're just kind of just chilling and talking about cool little trends of happening. And so yeah, we'll start off now. But first, we have Gabby with a tip of the day.
Yeah, so this is something I learned the hard way. It was actually this past weekend, but if you're listening to this, I coordinated a wedding on March 19th, and our bride had an outdoor ceremony. It was lovely. However, the wind blew at about 10 miles per hour, if not more, and we had a runner for the aisle, and we had swinging a letter swinging above them from their arbor, and we just I tried to plan as much as I could for the wind, but it did get the better of us. So just a tip: if you are having an outdoor ceremony, make sure you plan to have, anything large that is kind of tall or skinny. It's probably going to blow over. Just keep in mind that you may have a windy day, and to keep all of your items grounded, pack a lot of tape, something heavy, all that good stuff.
What would you say an object or a thing in the future, whenever you have somebody that potentially have an outdoor wedding, is there some sort of object that you could think of that may dilute the wind in the future?
Well, if you're really concerned about it and you wanted 0% wind, what I would suggest is having a tent and then putting sides, like walls, on the tent. That would probably be just about your only option. But
yeah, I was actually going to say that. Like, immediately when you said that, the first thing I thought of was like, oh, they should have wherever the wind is happening, or just or you could just put it on both sides or whatever side that you needed to eliminate as much as possible. Immediately I saw those greenery like walls that you could create where you could literally have it on whatever end. So it looks elegant and looks pretty, but at the same time, though, it's eliminating any wind or whatever potential weather of some sort coming into the actual venue at the time of the ceremony.
Yeah, I mean, you could get, you could possibly do pipe and draping as well, but I mean, again, that's probably going to blow.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. It really is.
No, and that's...
I just suggest, I mean, wind is not, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Just, we had a runner on the ground that we did our best to tape down 100%. And hold down with lanterns. But the lanterns got knocked over. It was a bummer. And we also had flower petals all over the ground that blew every which way. So just think about items like that might not be the best option.
I feel like everything, like just I feel like Midwest in general has a lot of issue with this because we are considered in like central-ish of the United States. Therefore, I feel like we get a lot of the weird, just like wind. I'm not a weather person. Like just all the like just
Yeah.
wherever the winds are happening, I feel like we just end up getting stuck with these wind tunnels. I mean, obviously we do because we technically live in a tornado alley, but I feel like we tend to in spring, summer, and fall tend to have more higher winds than normal for like any other like state. I mean, of course, like Kansas is even worse than us, but like I just feel we definitely get unlucky with wind and that type of like weather style.
It can change in an instant.
So embrace the wind.
Okay.
I just everything that we come about, it's gonna be embracing it. Just embrace whatever it is. So, but yeah, back to our part 2 series. It's going to be the 2022 wedding decor. Basically, like I said, the first one, we just kind of figure out like what trends are, what's a fad, how it was invented, who is the charge of it, who is the main leader, as you would say, for all of it. I'm not going to go into it because I want you guys to listen to it. So definitely go back to part 1 when you can. And of course, you can do it right after this because we're not going to ruin any of it or, start from whatever. Like you're not missing much out of it. But I definitely do want you guys to go back and listen to it. But with that being said, 2022 wedding decors. If you haven't listened to our decor wedding podcast, we have it a few episodes back. But basically, that's what weddings are normally tend to have having is some sort of decor or theme or style in a way. You always have some sort of idea or something like that. Like for example, for mine is more, we're kind of going for that like Lord of the Rings style, so more whimsical fantasy like greeneries and stuff like that. So location, decor, style, all of that, it has to be hit or driven with that look that we're kind of going for. So literally, you have your typical like rustic looks, or if you want to go beach themed, of course, obviously go to a beach, or if you can't go to a beach because of budget wise or whatever, you could still do a theme or style of the beach feel. You just have all these different styles of things, but these are the new trends, or what they're saying is the new decor or the latest decor trends for 2022.
To the different decor here in a minute, but there are a few different styles of weddings. Obviously, with COVID-19 happening, the trend for that intimate ceremony, we've said this a million times, definitely came out. And they're kind of sticking around a little bit. I think people would rather spend more money to treat the people that are really close to them as opposed to invite a million of their great aunts and uncles that they actually don't even know. And I am with that trend myself, but it can be hard to get, your traditional parents to kind of jump on board with that. They're used to those big cathedral weddings with everyone being invited. Kind of becomes more of a reunion than anything really about your wedding. But another style that's kind of popular are those elopements. That's just, really, you say intimate wedding, that's going to be 50 or less. Elopement here, that to me is 10 or less. You just have even just the two of you and an officiant go out, or just, your immediate family members are there to see it. That's also a trend that's super popular. And I think a lot of people are doing that because they want to save money.
And I honestly think as well, reason why elopement is considered, I think what their thoughts are, reason why the elopement is becoming more of a trend for 2022 is because we're getting out of the 2-year factor of being stuck in a inside for so long, or having to do like a micro wedding of some sort. We people are wanting to leave. They want to go do something. And so, of course, elopement originally is going to an location outside of wherever they're living to experience whatever it is. So it could be just Hawaii, or just maybe they want to do New Zealand, or just whatever their feel is for whatever it is. They want that environment there with them. And then, of course, bringing a couple people. And I just feel like because of the situation that we had, people are just wanting to just get out and do something different as opposed to just doing normal weddings.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then another trend is we touched a little bit on this last episode, but just those sequel weddings. And I think that kind of plays a little bit into the, obviously it's like basically an elopement with then pretty much a wedding on the back end of things. You have one day where you go out and either just, courthouse or just, friends and family very close to you around, have a small ceremony so you can kind of get that day under lock, and then also, marry the person you want to be with forever. And then, have that party later on. And I think that really takes the pressure off things on that big day. It can get really stressful, but just to know that, you're already married, it's really already done. This is just for fun. I think that really takes a lot of the pressure off of couples and probably vendors as well.
And I feel most couples that are non-traditional can go this route. There's still that not when I'm saying like weirdness, I'm not saying like traditional style weddings are weird. I'm just saying like to them it is a non-norm / radical sense of, or like even like an idea almost of like, oh, we get married on this day but then have like a party or a reception or celebration on a different day. It just seems unheard of, I would say, because traditionally you do it all in one day, and obviously in a church, and then go and do the reception wherever else. And so a lot of people, it's just, I guess I'm looking for the word, is unorthodox.
Yeah, absolutely. But what's funny is I think it's almost not being seen that way anymore because it's such a trend right now. We're going to do a sequel wedding. And the one thing I'm kind of confused on and just not sure about yet is we also want to have like quote unquote vow renewal, I guess, at the, bigger second party after we get married on St. Patrick's Day. But that it'll only be about a month afterwards. And so to me, it's kind of silly to do, a vow renewal again. No. So I think what we're going to do is not say vows at all on the first day, and then that will be where we present our vows, I guess. Yeah. But I don't really know. So
I know your feeling because ironically, both of us are planning our weddings just like that. Mm-hmm. The reason why we are planning on doing both is so that's how we don't F it up in a way. Absolutely. So like it's kind of like a practice before, but then also the one thing and the reason why we're doing it in both as opposed to just only at one location or like one and then none for the other one is because it's mainly just a factor of having the date. And so for us, it's not an issue to like redo it, but then also it gives everybody an opportunity to also experience that because they couldn't see it at first. And I'm also one of those big believers that everybody that is there on the day they're there for a reason. It's not just like, oh, I'm getting married, here's an invitation. Yeah, everybody who is getting invited are somebody that's very impactful or important in my life, and I want them to be there and say, hey, I appreciate you as whoever. I want you to be a part of this day.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, I think it's a part of it too is about like, I mean, that's like a special moment. You know what I mean? Like I always dreamed of walking down the aisle, holding my dad's arm, you know what I mean? And it's just, you don't get that unless you do go for it. Yeah. So hopefully it just won't feel weird when the time comes. It'll feel natural, but that's something we're working on.
So yeah. And that's, like I said, it's different. It's unique. And I just feel people are getting it, but at the same time, there's still kind of that weirdness of, oh, I have to do it 2 days. I mean, which is funny because like an Indian wedding, there's 3 days. So
Right.
and their
Oh,
and their
yeah.
base of it, with their beliefs, they have 3 celebrations, 3 different ceremonies, 3 different dresses,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
3 different everything. So it's just
party decor. It's so
yeah,
elaborate
and
and beautiful.
it is beautiful.
It's incredible.
And obviously, that's the trend. It's not a trend. That's like what they do. But it is nice to see that people who are non-tradition kind of forming almost that kind of feel of, we kind of go and elope or just stay or do whatever quick, and then in a couple months later have like a nice little celebratory event.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And kind of to roll right into the next one, another thing, a trend that we're seeing a lot is kind of, they state it as a departure from the serious, but what that really means is, a lot of people our age are kind of embracing, a little bit of comedy, or, their favorite TV shows include, I've had, The Office, 30 Rock. I had somebody wanting to, walk into 30 Rock.
Yeah.
Very, just like having fun with it. And I think that kind of, relates back to the less pressure on things these days, and less traditional, and not so cathedral big wedding, and I'm really digging it. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, for the people, it's unique. It's something personalized for them because it's what they like and they enjoy. And like, for example, like I said, our theme style is Lord of the Rings, so she's walking down to the Shire's soundtrack.
Oh, very cool.
So like, it's one of those like moment of, that's how we're nerds. Like, we love it, but then also, ideally we would love to go to actual New Zealand where the actual film was shot to do this, but we can't get everybody there.
No,
I mean, we could probably do our elopement there. That'd be kind of dope. I mean, that would be super cool to do, but in all honesty, though, it's just not. It's not going to be a thing.
No, people were pushing us to go to Ireland next St. Patrick's Day, and I was like, are you fronting the money for that?
Yeah.
Because GD.
It would be cool to see for like both of us. It would be cool to do an anniversary for that location to do something there.
Absolutely.
I could see that happening in the future time. But
well, and then that's the beauty of it. It's something to do later on to kind of bring it all back. And
and I'm a believer though as well with the whole, you could bring the aliveness of whatever you're kind of going for in any sorts of situation. If you give yourself a location, you could create it how you want it. Yeah. And because that's the hard part, is because we're still looking for a venue, and immediately Sarah's like, I need it to look somewhat close to that type of style. And for me, I see a spot or a location, and my mind is so creative where I'm like, well, I could just create the space and make it look what I want by the space that I have. And so for me, I'm okay with going to more of a higher venue place that's more, I guess, contemporary or modern. Yeah. But I could create that whimsical fantasy feel in there with vines and making sure that everything looks nice, and just, you can still create that feel. But I get what she wants, and it's fine. And just the only problem is this is going to take longer to book, which is fine. Yeah. But I get it. It's technically you only should be doing this once, so I get why she wants it, and it's fine. And I'm totally up for it, and I'm totally okay with that. So yeah, it is what it is.
Well, rolling into the next one, also plays on the not so serious. We're also seeing a trend in kind of fun, clever signs. Obviously, we all know the pick a seat, not a side, or this is an unplugged ceremony, which please follow that if you see that sign. But in other ways, people just kind of putting, maybe a menu, or just a little hello, or thank you for being here, little piece of, a note onto their, place settings, fun stuff like that, little notes in their favors or desserts, all that stuff, just little things that maybe don't cost a lot of money, but can add a little bit of fun and a little bit of, whimsy to your guests and their experience.
And I'm like, it's nice to see those because majority of that is driven with DIY.
Right.
And I love when people personalize their wedding. Don't get me wrong. There are companies that are out there that will create it, or some venues currently, because me looking at venues, they already have signs created or things that they've had or just been recycled from other weddings that they don't need anymore, so they just keep for future guests or couples, I mean. But it's nice to see people showing their personality traits with that, and it's nice to, like I said, kind of get out of that sense of normal of weddings and kind of showing your personalized factor of who you are, and it just makes it more enjoyable. I feel
absolutely, less serious, as we said.
And it's, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a celebration, and I feel like a lot of people now, even though our title is Weddings Made Perfect, it's more of like a metaphor of saying that no matter what happens, your wedding is going to be perfect regardless. And so I want to make people to understand that, like, even though our name has the word perfect, everything is not going to be perfect. But at the same time, though, whatever does happen, you should see it as in the eyes as it being a perfection or perfect situation. So why I'm saying that is, if something doesn't go the way that you planned on it, that's how it was supposed to happen. That's because just
perfectly imperfect.
Manifesting the situation of making sure that it looks fine.
You'll laugh about it later,
and that's why you don't have to be serious. It's the whole point of the wedding is a celebration situation.
Absolutely. Another trend we're seeing are acts of gratitude. This kind of...
So is this like keepsakes or like giveaways?
Yeah, stuff like that, like party favors.
Nice.
We're kind of seeing more elaborate gifts and, different items for bridal parties too. Brides and grooms saying thank you to their friends. There's the trend of these like bachelorette parties are no longer a single night. Now it's a whole weekend trip to Scottsdale or Vegas, going to the beach, and I mean, that it racks up. You got $200 dress, you added on a whole, Airbnb out to the countryside and all, drinks out and buying the bride and groom a gift. It really adds up. And so, we're seeing brides and grooms taking advantage of their smaller ceremonies to then give back to, their families, their bridal parties, their guests, saying thank you for all that they've, all the support they've been given.
Have you seen the movie Bridesmaid?
Yes.
Okay. So I think you may know where I'm going with the whole scene where at the end of the wedding or whatever, she's giving out puppies or whatever.
Yes.
What is that? This is the bridal show or something? I think it was the bridal show.
Bridal shower.
Bridal shower, yeah. Where they're giving out puppies and stuff.
So ridiculous.
But then she I forgot what her name is, but the main actor who of course has that massive meltdown, destroying the cookie and trying to. I always laugh at this. I don't know why, but she's trying to push over the fountain, even though the chocolate fountain, even though she physically can't. So she's sitting there just scooping it out.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to say though is when she's leaving, everybody left with a puppy.
Right.
And she's the main person who's getting married is she doesn't get a puppy. She doesn't get one. She doesn't deserve one. And she's just fine. And she walks away and all bad. And then also later on, you see the Melissa McCarthy's character driving by with 7 puppies.
Oh
and
my gosh.
I was just immediately
so funny.
So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you are not giving out puppies, I don't know what you're doing.
Don't give out puppies.
No, definitely
so
not.
Ridiculous.
But
no, give out tacos.
Tacos is good.
I know, right? I think we're doing late night pizza. That's my gratitude.
I think the most interesting handout that I saw was the person is a very big coffee person,
Okay.
And he ended up roasting his own beans. And when everybody left, they left with a bag of beans.
Very cool.
With like their name like on the bag and stuff. And so you just took it home.
His very own custom roast.
Grind it. And
Very cool.
That was a cool idea. That was one of those, of course, like, obviously, I don't know if it's popular, but like, obviously, I see him as the innovator of that. And like, I'm absolutely adapting that of like something involving coffee because I'm such a coffee driven person. So like maybe my late night, whatever.
Yeah.
Especially for the coffee, I was thinking of maybe having like a coffee bar where you could do like pour overs or like have actual baristas pour overs, like doing it. Because I have a lot.
So extra.
I have a lot of friends that are baristas. So, I mean, it'd be kind of dope to actually give people, you know, actual good coffee.
Yeah.
And so I think it'd be dope instead of just.
Boy, you guys have a long list of things you need to get done. Folgers
inside of whatever. I just. No. I forgot. Didn't we talk about this? And like you're a Maxwell person or something?
I know I'm a Folgers.
Folgers?
I like Folgers.
No, I'm the Maxwell person, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Get your stuff together.
I don't know. I'm still drinking the same Ghost from the last episode.
Gross. So now we can move into kind of the decor style that we're seeing as trends. So this is going to be the stuff that you're really seeing on your Pinterest. These, I think, really follow what the celebrities are doing right now. The first one we're going to talk about is called Cottage core weddings. So this style is going to be very, they said very, very fluffy, very lush, lots of florals, more neutral colors, but you can have some of the brighter, deeper colors, such as like a jade green or, you know, kind of a midnight blue. But everything's very fluffy. You're going to have wooden benches. It's going to lean hard. It's going to kind of mix rustic and elegant in a way. But lots of florals, like I said, and just kind of a fun... Yeah.
And more florals, I'm assuming. And, you know, what do you say? Like, though, it implies with a lot of like flowers and plants and stuff. And
lush, I would say.
Like, I mean, like, it's cottage. So immediately I think of like more outdoorsy, more hutty, like the huts of, you know, this college village, I guess would say.
Yeah, a little less modern, a little more traditional looking.
Would you go even like as far as like whimsical feel?
Yeah, absolutely. With the lushness, not so much the deep.
Yeah,
more of a light, airy, lush.
More elegant on the side of that. Oh, yeah, I would. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I really dig this style.
I think that's the direction.
I don't want a ton of color. I like it more just floofy and very pretty.
I think that's kind of more the direction that I think we might go with ours.
Well, yours can be a little more dramatic, I feel like, than mine will be probably, from what I understand from you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Probably more deeper tone greens and stuff.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, more, I guess, the only thing I can think of is to describe it is more like Portland, Oregon, Colorado vibe. Tall trees, deep greens.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Foresty.
Absolutely.
We'll just.
All right. So the next trend that we're going to talk about is called Japandi Style. Japandi style. So what this style kind of leans towards is, first and foremost, it's minimalistic. It's going to reflect more the minimalistic style that I think is a trend right now in household decor.
Yep.
A lot of neutral colors. And when I say neutral, I'm talking tans.
White.
Almost more creams, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think white even is a little too bright for this style, if that makes sense.
Okay.
More tans, kind of earthy, and like that pampas grass style. Maybe some leathers in there as well.
Okay, cool. Because like immediately when you say that, I don't know why, but I picture like a very like a minimum white wedding, like as I'm like visioning it. So I mean, I didn't know if that kind of that style pushed into it, but it sounds like they're expanding more. Would you say almost like minimum earthy tones?
Yeah, exactly. And I was just going to say, it's almost, there's going to be a lot of rattan in there too. So that kind of like baskety weave look with pampas grass in it. Got those like cage chairs that maybe hang from the ceiling. That kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of gives that more like earth value of.
Yeah, the stuff you'd probably see in Pottery Barn right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think that one, of course, like we were saying, takes after the trends that are in homes right now. And that's kind of what the pictures almost look like, is they set up a little area that's got the minimalistic, but you can take a picture and it looks like you're just kind of sitting in a living room at your venue.
It's, there's a lot of studios that I've driven. I don't know if you saw my recent Instagram post on my personal Instagram, but I took a photo of just my camera before I started like doing some creative work. It almost had that type of feel. It was very that just in genre feel to it.
I think I did see that. Was that in your office?
No, that was the just my camera on a Ronin, just by like a window or whatever.
Gotcha.
A mirror, I mean.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, there's actually a swatch here, and really no white, more of that kind of tan tones and cream tones. So very interesting there. The next one we're going to talk about is called Grand Millennial Style. Millennial Style. So this one is going to be the opposite, pretty much, of the last two we've talked about. This one is fun pops of bright colors, bright patterns. It's very in your face, but in a good way. Yeah. You got your golds, your brasses, lots of patterns and fun colors, mixes of colors, mixes of patterns. Yeah. I think it's dope. Super cool looking.
If you could describe it as a flower, what would it be?
As a flower.
I just want to see if you're in the same vibe as me. I'm just trying to see if like I'm getting the vibe properly.
As a flower, all I can think of are those pink lilies that have like the bursts coming from the inside and are very just like bright fuchsia pink.
Okay. I was thinking of sunflowers immediately when you started talking about it.
Yeah, like, I think sunflower is weird because it can lean a little rustic depending on how you do it.
I was going for more of that like
bright color,
the bright
absolutely,
yellow
and uniqueness about it, absolutely.
So I mean, you would probably those lilies and sunflowers in general could like if you could mesh them together and blend them in.
Exactly.
I was just kind of curious because immediately when you were describing it, the first thing I thought of was sunflowers. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to give more of the visual people because if you guys are watching this on YouTube, which by the way, like I said, there's no camera, but I will be posting kind of like not a slideshow, but just kind of like what Gabby is seeing on her computer, some like inspirational photos and stuff.
Examples.
But for the people that are listening, though, I'm trying to give you guys more of a painted picture in your guys' mind while you guys are driving to your work or wherever, or maybe to your wedding.
Yeah, it's a very eclectic style. That's the best way I describe it.
No,
it's
that makes sense.
Anything you find really amazing, really awesome, bright colors. That's going to be, you're just going to throw it in one room and it all comes together as this bright, visually appealing kind of space.
No, that makes sense.
So the next one is called A Welcomed Twist on Pantone. So Ty and I looked into Pantone and really what it means because I honestly was not sure at first. Basically, Pantone is the idea of swatches in general. Yeah. So, you find one color you really are in love with, and it's number 108274 when you go to Home Depot in a swatch. And the idea is you take that literal color and swatch, and you make all of the whatever you want to be that color, be that exact color. They're usually bright, visually appealing colors that you just kind of stick with one or two, and then everything else just kind of plays off of that color. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the one thing though I do have a question is we're playing with that one swatch, but then for the actual other colors, would it be the same color theory with that color to
No.
control it?
That's the exact opposite of what we're doing here. We aren't taking a swatch full of varying colors in a family. I know what you're saying here.
Yeah.
What we're doing is literally taking that one bright color and doing that one only. So if you see this bouquet here, we've got all yellow colors, but they're all one yellow color, single yellow color, as best as they can do.
Well,
And,
obviously,
obviously. But it's not taking, a little bit lighter of yellow to play off a brighter yellow. It's just that one bright yellow.
Okay, cool. No, yeah, I just wasn't entirely sure because, I mean, as you see now, I see what you're talking about. The one that we're seeing currently is a white. It was all white envelopes and feathers, and is applying just literally just like this minimum white feel.
Yep.
You're literally, you have a flower, you have a little fan, you have the envelopes, you have all the
ribbon,
papers,
hair clip,
feather,
everything.
all of it. It's all white. Even the ring. What is that?
Box.
Ring box? Yeah. I was like, what the? I don't know. I almost said bear for some reason. I'm like, no, that's not it. Ring box. All of it's white. So yeah, that makes sense now because I wasn't sure entirely because like we're still even then like after when we like read the description, I was very like confused of like, oh,
well, and I think that why they call it a welcome twist on Pantone is because Pantone would be doing what you're saying by taking the swatch and the family swatch, but the twist is by just taking that one color.
Like for us, with
all in,
we have swatches that like we took the color theory of the film, made those swatches, and then we're using those to influence all of our color tones, from like flowers to the coppery to the goldness to the everything, like, and the only thing that we swapped out was instead of white we're going with a black. So
nice.
Yep. Super
dramatic
deep.
And another trend mentioned is the sober cocktails. Now Tyler's going to try and say that he is the innovator on this. He is. He had this idea actually a couple years ago. So
yeah. But the only thing about, so I'm gonna stick with sober cocktail, and I actually have a couple things about this for you. Because I want to play devil's advocate with this one, even though that it's like the reason why we're doing it is obviously for the proper reason of one of us is sober.
Yeah.
So obviously we want to make sure that Sarah has options to have, so that makes complete sense. At the same time, though, why can't you go up to a bar already that is created and get a cocktail drink that is non-alcoholic?
I think you can. Have you been turned down an experience? Yes. Oh, really? At a wedding?
Yeah. Really? Because they wanted to use those ingredients for the actual thing, because I guess they measured it by the amount per alcohol. So it was like the balance of, or I guess the formula they had was the word I'm looking for is ratio. The ratio of whatever's
number of drinks
they had.
Absolutely. You pay the bar for a certain number of people to drink.
If you're getting a vodka cran, they had the right amount of cran per vodka drinks.
I think that's ridiculous. So we should not be doing that to individuals, especially these days.
Yeah.
If they need a sober cocktail, you should be able to get them a sober cocktail.
No, because immediately there's like
that's ridiculous.
There's lemonade and tea over there.
Yeah. So or soda. Exactly.
Yeah. Or you're able to get soda was fine, but the only thing that they would make is like a Shirley Temple, which is obviously is like the ground basic cocktail drink that is non-alcoholic. Totally fine.
Yeah.
But I forgot what it was called, but it was something that Sarah knows that actually involves with like a couple ingredients that are non-alcoholic, and they wouldn't give it to her because they only had a little bit of that set ingredients, and then they didn't want to use.
Let me ask you this: was this a wedding on your side or her side?
This was a friend's wedding.
Friend's wedding of both of you.
Yeah.
Okay. Did they say that Sarah would not be drinking? Like, was she included as a non-drinking member?
I don't know. I think.
How would they know that?
I don't know. I think it was. Well, I mean, honestly, nothing said. Will you be drinking? Yes or no?
Exactly.
Like that's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
It's like I don't know. I think it was just the bartender just being
a little stingy.
Yeah, just being whatever.
And that's not cool.
Which, I mean, I've seen that happen before though, because like even then, if they're, I don't understand. I guess it's by the packages or something like that. But like if some places actually have the soda machines, so like the actual things,
the gun,
like it's not much of an issue. But when they have actual cans, they tend to try to give so for example, like rum and Coke or Jack and Coke or whatever, they want to use the Coke for the alcohol purposes, because the more times they get the Jack or rum used more, there's a potential chance that they have to go over and have to buy another bottle or whatever.
Sure.
But for them, the Coke actual just Coke in general, they're not going to go through as much because people are normally there for the open bar for the actual drinks itself.
Right.
And so I've also had multiple times where, not multiple times, but like one or two times where I was shooting a wedding and it was like close to the end of the day, and they wanted to make sure that they would give us, instead of just like a can, because I asked for a can one time, they're like, well, we kind of really need this for like mix, so we'll just give you over ice if that's okay. And I was like, that's fine. And then it's like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, whatever, but it was just like, that was the one little like feeling of, why is there a difference between non-alcoholic drinks and then actual just like,
it's not like she's asking for liquor on ice. She's asking for the stuff that doesn't cost much. So that's a bummer.
So
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah. And then but let's go back to that though. So other than that though, like sober cocktails, we're not also just talking about, like I said, like Shirley Temples or anything like that. You could actually find companies and places that can create drinks that are fun for you that are non-alcoholic. So if you are sober or don't want to drink or try to keep it family friendly, if you have like a lot of kids and they want to be cool and have like a fun little drink that is entertaining for them to have, you actually have companies that can do things like that to have that type of experience as well. Yeah. So definitely look into it. I know for us, we found a company that is willing to work creating a menu. I'm sure we're using like a candy shop, because they actually have like a soda bar there. So obviously locally, I'm sure you could find a place that does roughly the same thing and ask them, and you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. So the next one we're going to kind of talk about is, I hadn't heard of this before the MBA conference that we went to, but I am super intrigued. It is called a multi-sensory event. So what that means is, instead of strictly relying on just, food, cocktails, and music, you also think about kind of what somebody might say the smell of your wedding is going to be. So if if you guys, saying you and Sarah just really love the smell of lavender. Mm-hmm. So you decide to go out and make,
which ironically, that's your favorite scent.
Funny. You guys go out together to a local candle shop.
Yeah.
And you get this candle and maybe even like the kind of aroma liquid that they have designed just specifically for your tastes. And then you have a few candles here and there that are going to be bringing that lavender scent in there. And wow, what a great idea. I mean, say you've got what about like a Christmas wedding and you really lean into like that barch and pine kind of smell. I mean, I could see that being really amazing.
It's funny that you say that. A few years back, I actually had a wedding that was driven by a scent, and they were really big into cookies. And so
Yum.
they had which still to this day, they're also very driven in they're kind of like the Disney adults. So like if you ever actually been to Disney World or something like that, they infuse when you're going through the Main Street area, like of course that like sense of candy and cookies and sweets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Immediately you get hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they wanted to get they got influenced by that. So they kind of created their own version of that where they had sensory oils and stuff that smelled like fresh baked cookies.
Oh my God.
And
That's mean.
they actually served cookies though. So
Right.
they actually sold like they had Mrs. Fields because that's our favorite one.
Get out of here.
So that was like their dessert of choice.
That's really cool.
Mrs. Fields. But it's kind of cool. But then also for like multi-century, does it have to be scents?
Oh, of course not.
No, because like immediately when I pictured that as like it's obviously like our senses, so like touch, feeling, smells, hearing, and stuff like that. I think it'd be really cool, and I haven't even seen it yet, but it'd be cool if you are going for those theme or decor style options. For example, like ours, like foresty, feel. It'd be cool to have like a section where it has that like foresty vibe, but you have like a sense of sound of like birds
Yes.
or like if you had like a waterfall.
Yes. I almost think of when we walked through the Bellagio.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they had that like whimsical world.
Yeah.
If you could do like just like a little hallway where it almost becomes trees and you hear that, and that'd be so cool.
Or just kind of like the Zen, like I guess area, or even
Yeah, I think back to, like I said on the last podcast, this Stormy's birthday party where they had like the thunder clouds up above with the lightning, and I'm sure they had the sound going too. Like, how neat is that?
I think that it would be cool, and I've really haven't seen that happen before. Even down to it'd be cool finding rugs or whatever that has that like softer feel. I don't know. It's just cool to like you guys could get really creative with
textures,
sensory of like whatever, and you could add into your wedding that could give you more of a sense of it. I do know a very popular, I guess, scent is like a vanilla-y smell.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to a lot of weddings that enhance a lot of vanilla, especially like centerpieces and stuff. They'll always have some sort of oil that involve like a vanilla scent. And the only reason why I know is because the weddings that I have shot, I always get like it triggers it immediately, and like not in a bad trigger, but it's just a straight trigger of like I've had this before. Right. I get a lot of deja vu moments.
Brings you back into it. Yeah.
Of like, oh, I've had this feeling or sense.
Yeah.
Before. So.
Yeah. And then another one. So this is obviously going to be more geared toward outdoor weddings, but we're seeing a big trend in the elevated tents. So, just those, I'm sure you've seen it on Pinterest, if you've been on Pinterest, but the idea of getting a tent that, has really a rafted roof at the top. And a lot of the time there'll be things hanging from it, such as fresh florals, chandeliers, lanterns, strung lights, anything that kind of fits in with the decor and makes what is going to be a sterile white tent feel more cozy and like a fun event space that you really want to hang out in.
I would like to do a podcast on this one because it would be kind of because I don't know if you know the answer. If you do, then you can answer it, and then we won't have to do it. But it would be kind of cool to kind of put like a side by side of how much would it be to actually do an elevated tent. Like wedding, like that type of style
compared to a venue,
compared to just like a venue or something. Because I would like to see are you actually saving money or not?
Yeah,
with that,
right? Well, because if you think about if it's going to be chilly at night, you're going to have to order in the heaters. If it's going to be dark, you got to have electricity for lighting. I mean, there's a lot of aspects that go into it. You have to order a dance floor, literally most of the time, that is put together on the ground.
Yeah.
So
and there's a lot of I know there's a lot of factors into it, and a lot of variables of like how the weather's going to be. And for example, like the last wedding you're talking about with or was it this wedding? No, it was this one where you're talking about the wind situation.
Yeah.
So there's so many just variations of situations that could happen, but it would be kind of interesting though, to see it. And also, I don't know why immediately when we talk about elevated tents, I immediately picture of Harry Potter scene in the movie when it's one of the Weasleys, I think it's one of the older brothers, his wedding.
Yeah.
They elevated, like they do an elevated tent, and it's all there in the tent and stuff like that. Immediately, I picture that kind of that like almost fantasy like factor,
whimsical.
elegant,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and so it's just such a cool idea. But it'd be cool to see if are you actually saving money of some sort. It'd be really cool to just kind of compare them and figure it out.
Absolutely. And that kind of wraps up the unique decor trends that we're seeing as far as 2022 goes. But we do have a couple to touch on for the fashion side of things. I know we touched a little bit on this in the last episode, but first and foremost, we're seeing a lot of kind of bright colors. I know I'm demanding a dark green suit for my groom, and he's down with it. But we're also seeing, like, you may notice dresses are kind of becoming, we got sleeves, we get color now sometimes, people going for black or pink, even like that darker tan or nude has become kind of a popular color. Even prints, you see suits with, patterns, plaid on them.
I will say for the guys' side, I feel like in the next few years, tuxedos will be completely out and suits will be in.
I think so too.
I will strongly hold that.
I think they kind of already are.
Because
how many people do you know that own a tuxedo besides yourself?
Not that, but the only reason why tuxedos are still in, and I feel like why they're still in, is because it's these last minute bookings of
like black tie.
It is affordable, but at the same time, no, it's not really anymore. But it's the whole factor of you could rent a tuxedo and then turn it in the next day and not have to worry about it ever again, which is perfectly fine. Totally understand if you're going that route. Cool. It's still in. It's still there. It's there's still options, stuff like that. But I just feel like we're gonna get into a generation where it's just going to be really nice suits.
Yeah. Yeah, and to go back to color, we're even seeing a trend too with like engagement rings not being the classic diamond that has been on trend forever. Yeah. Seeing sapphires and pretty stones and gems, and I think that is so very cool as well. And then the last thing that is kind of unique and different is heirloom investments. So really what we're talking about here is you may see a lot of brides wearing crowns. I don't know. I imagine they're probably not passed down, but just the trend of wearing something that seems like that piece that's been around forever, or is something that was passed down from your grandma or for your mom herself. Obviously that's something borrowed, but just pieces that kind of really are statement. You know what I mean? Unique.
So let's say you don't have an heirloom. Can you be an innovator for heirloom?
I would say so.
So
absolutely.
like you have it and then pass it down to whatever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I like the heirloom idea. Because it's the whole factor of like I know there's that list of what was it, like something borrowed, something whatever,
something like, borrowed, something blue, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue.
Yeah, you have all of these like that whole that is that, would you consider that as a trend? Like that's a trend thing to do, or is that like a traditional thing?
That's tradition. That is tradition. That's been around too long to remember.
Okay. So yeah, heirlooms are nice. I like them. It definitely utilize. I think it's great to have something to remind of like where you came from, or like if it's a generational piece, or just something that's passed down in your family, stuff like that, or even whatever it is.
Yeah, new tradition for your family.
It's nice to have that because, like I said, it's just personalizing it to yourself, but at the same time, it's enjoyable. Like I've seen even on the guys' end with watches or cufflinks.
Yeah, and, absolutely. Good
necklace, point. Pocket watches,
tie clip.
I've seen them all. Yeah. And then of course, girls, it's necklace, earrings, bracelets, crowns, even. It could be literally anything. It could even be dresses. I've seen that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Did a wedding that had, they tailor it to the person So it's not as OG original, but it's still the sense of it's passed down though, but it was a third generation dress that the bride was wearing.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I think that's honestly pretty wraps up the intimate or the different styles and decor, and then also some fashionable things for that. Honestly, before we end that whole thing, out of all of these, which one do you see becoming more popular out of the 10 that we picked?
Oh, good question. Obviously, I think when you say cottagecore, for me, I think that really just screams like elegant, kind of traditional style more than like a unique particular style. But the minimalistic is very on trend right now as far as like house decor goes, and I think that one's probably is going to be the most followed and the most repeated for some time being, in my opinion.
Yeah. I definitely see I can see that. On my end, I would love to see the multi-sensory to kind of come about.
It's
and
cool,
I think it'd be really cool to enhance more of that style, and it'd just be, cool, just enjoy that more, especially like the woods, like the zen feel. I think that's just so cool and interesting. I've never seen that. I probably will. I mean,
just another thing to add to the list.
And add to the list of things. I mean, it is what it is. But before we go, I always try to do at least one question. It's not really, I keep calling it a game, but it's really not. It's more just like a question to Gabby to figure out like what it is, and then if we want to talk about it, we can. If not, that's fine. But I just want to kind of go through it. Like, this is like the last segment of each podcast. I didn't do one last part because it's technically a part 2, so it's still technically the same podcast, just in a different week. So I have a question, and I don't want to give a multiple choice to it because I feel like immediately when I say it, you're gonna know exactly what it is. So this one might be a little difficult, but here is the question. Out of all the questions that has been asked for weddings, what is the most asked questions for weddings in the United States? So like this is the top
number one most asked question
for
in
weddings.
The United States about weddings. I would say, what is the average cost of a wedding?
No.
No? Mm-mm. Am I close?
No. Do you want to oh shoot, did not mean to do that.
I'm surprised at the financials.
No, it's not.
Wow.
It's let me see here. Do you want to try to do one more, or I'll give you 3 tries. I'll just do 3 tries.
All right.
So this is, like I said, this is the most asked questions for weddings.
All right.
And this is the, statistically, this is the most that it's ever been.
Is it like general, or
this is just a general question? It says it's literally it says the most asked question you'll receive in the weeks leading up to your wedding day.
Oh, that you'll be asked?
No, I mean, I'm just saying in general, it's just the most asked questions for weddings.
Oh, goodness. I don't think I have another guess. I thought for sure it'd be finances.
No, statistically, it is the most asked question for weddings is, what is the dress code?
Okay. That makes sense. Because it applies to guests more than probably brides and grooms.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't know why. I looked it up and I was like, that's weird. And then I actually looked at other sources, and that just kept popping up as the number 1 top question. And the thing was, all I typed in was, what is the most asked question for weddings? And that's the first thing that'll pop up.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't surprise me. I follow a couple subreddits about weddings, and I swear every day there is another, usually young lady, putting a dress into onto a post and saying, is this appropriate for a cocktail wedding? Is this appropriate for a formal wedding? Is this a blah, 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 blah? And then I love when they put white ones on there and they're like, is this okay? And everybody's like, no, it's not okay. Don't do.
I think it's overthinking. And then also it's one of those things of like, you don't want to dress too down and you don't want to dress too, because I've seen it where I've done a wedding all the way out in like a little, like a rural area, and you have people in like suits, and then you have people literally next to them in jeans and a t-shirt.
Yep.
And it's just like,
there's always going to be one guy, I swear. You cannot get him to go away. He will always show up. You're lucky if you don't see sandals at your wedding.
Yeah, and it's just there, and then you got the just the female side or whatever in general of just, you know, they want to wear a dress, but then they don't know what they want to wear because they don't want to be too flashy to be, you know, I guess to me that's the look
crazy.
Of the
yeah, to me it's like females have it the easiest. Just buy a dress. Yeah. You're gonna be pretty much good. Well, I mean, short to long. Yeah, stay away from white and buy a dress. You cannot go wrong.
Just stay away from white or cream and you're good. Yeah. Like just
but then the guys don't ask and they show up in jeans and a button down. And I'm just like, please stop wearing jeans to weddings, please.
The only thing that I would do, which I like to do anyways, is I like to go with like kind of the theme of the wedding. So for example, we get to go to a friend's wedding on April 8th. And I asked her what her color is. Mm-hmm. So that's how I could get a bow tie that has that significance color. Very cool. So like I try to portray like something that they like.
Until you show up literally matching the groomsmen.
I won't though, because it's just one of those.
No, it's so rare.
The odds of me actually like looking like that, but also I'm not coming in like with a 3-piece suit or anything like that. It's I always try to like it'll just be a tie or even like a bow tie or whatever, and that's it. Like but it's awesome. Normally I just stick with a black suit. I don't wear any other colors. I just, you know, and I always try to go for ones like a pattern of some sort that looks different, because I know that they're not going to pick that. Right. It's just I know it's what it is, and then of course Sarah got a black dress, so once again, like that, it was super easy. It was easy to get, easy to find. We didn't have to stress about anything, so it's not anything like that. But yeah, that was it. So that is ending the part 2 of the 2022 wedding trends. I just want to say thank you again, guys, for everything. If you guys haven't got to listen to part 1, definitely listen to it. We are on literally all platforms. You can find us anywhere. There is a couple platforms that just added randomly for audio listening that I have no idea what they are, but obviously we're on there. So there's no point for telling you guys the entire list. But if you do see our postings, we do try to do the top ones. Currently right now, the tops are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. So those are pretty much our top 3. But I just want to say, guys, thank you so much. If you guys give it a chance, please give us a follow on any of the platforms, so you kind of know when our next episode comes up. Also, if you like it, please give it a like. Definitely try to share if you do even like it even more. If you do have any questions or comments or anything like that, just comment on any of the platforms at all. Definitely for YouTube, if you want to post there, that'd be great. If you have any ideas and stuff like that, I do actually have a poll currently right now going on Spotify with a couple questions. Definitely fill that out. I have no idea how that works, but I did it and it should be there. And if you guys want to give out a review, that'd be great. If not, if you don't want to do any of that, you can just email us at whatissmyperfectpodcast@gmail.com. But other than that, thank you so much for all of the support. And Ty and Gabby is signing out. Thank you so much and have a great day.